What's up, y'all? All right, we got the hard stuff behind us, CIDR, subnet mask. Now, we're moving on to network ID. I want you to understand, what is a network ID? Well, it's a pretty simple idea. It is the first IP address in the subnet. Now, this brings us to a new term, usable hosts. This contrasts with the previous term we were using, which is total hosts or available hosts. So, usable hosts. Now, if you start out, let's look at this network right here. It's a /26 network, so there are 64 total hosts in each subnet, right? And total, 64 total. So how many usable? Well, the network ID is not usable. So now we're down from 64 to 63, but we're not done yet. We're going to subtract another one later on. So just hang with us. Um, but for right now, the network ID, it's the first IP address in the subnet. It is not usable. Okay, so just make sure we get our terms straight. Total versus usable. Now, let's look at this example network again. We're still working with a 10 dot internal network, and this is 10.0.0.0. Last IP is 10.0.0.63 here in the first subnet. Now, let's look at this question here. What's the network ID in the third subnet? Well, how do you break this question down? So, network ID in the third subnet. What's the definition of network ID? It is the first IP in the subnet. So, what is the first IP in the third subnet? So, let's go down, find the third subnet. Here it is. Here's the third subnet. The first IP address is 10.0.0.128. So that's the network ID. What about the first subnet? Okay, so what is the network ID for the first subnet? What is the first IP address in the first subnet? Well, here's the first subnet, and it's 10.0.0.0. Those are the answers. Did we get them right? Yep, we sure did. We got them right. Awesome. That's it. That's all there is to network ID. It's a very straightforward concept. Next, we're going to do broadcast IP.